Hello and welcome. This is the Goalers AFL podcast. There is only 3 AFL games left in the 2025 season. We have
don't say
three
that.
Victorian teams. We have Geelong, we have Collingwood, we have Hawthorn, and we have the mighty Brisbane Lions. The reigning premiers have made it once again to another preliminary final. We are going to be versing the Collingwood Magpies at the MCG. That is the game on Saturday. We are going to have one other prelim on the Friday, which is going to be Geelong versus Hawthorn. And we are hopefully going to be watching all of these games. Caleb, how did you enjoy all of the football this weekend?
Oh, mate. It was a stacked weekend in terms of talent, that's for sure. I think Brisbane winning against Gold Coast is what most of the AFL community would have expected. Hawthorn winning by 34 points. I don't think many people saw that coming. Adelaide going out in straight sets. The first time since 1983, the top of the table team has gone out in finals in such devastating fashion. So we're going to dissect it and get straight into it, Harry. But yeah, it was a very interesting weekend of football, that's for sure.
Yeah, we had the first game, which we just said was the Hawks defeating the Crows. The Crows obviously finished top of the ladder. But man, this is not the way you wanted to finish your season. This was terrible. Losing 2 straight home games to teams that you probably should be beating. I mean, this was the very first time an 8th place team has beaten a first place team in finals. So, which is just crazy. And I think a lot of it has to do with some of the off-field, well, technically on-field, but off-field stuff where suspensions to Isaac Rankin.
Sorry, fuck.
Isaac Rankin getting suspended, some of the drama around that, all of that sort of thing happening is just, it's not been fun for the Adelaide Crows. And I saw a video of a Crows fan who was just like, it just feels weird if we win. Like, he's like, I obviously want them to win, but also, like, if we win and then we go play Collingwood or in the grand final, like, are they going to boo Isaac Quaynor again? Like, all of that sort of stuff. And it's like, he feels odd about the season and how it's finished. And I think that probably sums it up for a lot of the Crows fans. I mean, had a good season, but yeah, this is definitely a very bad way to finish it.
And yeah, thanks, Harry, for powering through that sneeze. Look, the way I see Adelaide's season upon reflection is it is eerily similar to Brisbane in 2019 when they made their first finals campaign under Chris Fagan. Matthew Nicks has built a team after many, many years in the dungeon. He's been able to get a formula that has seemed to work for them in the home and away season in terms of having 3 tall forwards and being able to play some explosive football through the middle. And Brisbane did something very similar in 2019 in terms of playing a new brand of football and were very exciting to watch. And they had so many great victories that home and away season in 2019. But then they got to finals and almost the occasion and the lack of experience got to them. And Adelaide, I feel surprisingly so at Adelaide Oval, just like almost capitulated. And the fans just almost felt the energy get sucked out of the team. And they weren't able to get as enthusiastic as the 10,000 Hawthorn fans did within that oval. So I see a lot of similarities in this journey of Adelaide in terms of, they've got to get the experience and have these players adjust to that finals footy tempo and energy and aggression. And they'll only be better for this experience. But the biggest headline coming away from it is, are these players actually good enough to win a flag? I don't think so. They're a good team. They're not a great team.
I mean, yeah, well, obviously they're not good enough to get past the first 2 rounds. So clearly they're not good enough. But I think, if they hadn't had these controversies come their way, I think that they probably could have done better. I think that, a lot of the off-field stuff put them away. But I think this is a good step forward, obviously, for the Crows. Like, jumping up the highest amount that any team has ever had from one season to the next is a huge step. Finishing first,
Absolutely.
Nothing to be sneezed at, really good season. I just think that, this puts a sour note. But hey, it might make these players hungrier. You got some older players like Tex Walker, Jordan Dawson, but then you got a lot of like young players in this team as well. So, this is not the final run for some of these players. It's going to be a fun watch next year to see where they finish. I can probably see them being still in the top four, maybe top six next year, something like that. I don't expect them that they'll suddenly drop out just because of this poor finish to the season. They've still got a very good list. So,
Yeah,
but that's
they've
enough on
certainly
Adelaide.
got to.
Sorry, you go.
They've, yeah, I was just gonna say they certainly have to cement this experience and make themselves harder for it, and make sure that they are not
Yeah.
absorbing it too emotionally,
Yeah.
and are able to learn from the experience and move forward with it. And that's something I think Brisbane have done many times over their history with Chris Fagan.
Yeah, good comp.
So Matthew Nix, I think, should hopefully take some lessons from that and hopefully be able to imbue it. But
Yeah.
I just want to say one thing about Hawthorn.
Yeah.
They were just absolutely amazing, I thought, just from minute one. Like the quarter started and 3 goals had gone through, and I hadn't even like got my chair yet sorted. I was still getting me sacks and me bloody water, and I was like, oh, the game is about to start. And then bang, 3 goals on the bounce. And like you can't be starting games of football like that. But I thought Jai Newcomb, absolutely elite. The Wizard with that goal from the pocket was incredible. And just their overall team cohesion and movement of the ball was just really exciting to watch. And they have got a lot of attention for their characters that they have in their team. But as a team, they have now, I think, solidified themselves as a real contender despite finishing 8th.
Yeah.
And coming up against Geelong, what an absolute Hollywood
Oh.
standoff that is going to be.
Well, they were 8th, but if they had won against Brisbane, they could have finished 3rd.
Exactly.
So,
That's a very good point.
It's like they are 8th, but they really weren't as bad as what other 8th place teams probably were in previous years. So
Yeah,
I kind of
agree.
wasn't that surprised by it. But yeah, they smacked them in the face and they just couldn't recover, could the Crows. They kind of steadied a bit, but yeah, it was definitely they jumped them, so to speak. And yeah, on to the next now for the Hawks. And obviously they play Geelong next game. All the history between these two teams. It's the traditional what Easter's Monday they usually play.
I think so, yeah.
Yeah, so they usually play that game, and that's just always a very hotly contested game. Takes you back to the kind of the Luke Hodge, Lance Franklin versus like Matt Scarlett, Tom Hawkins style of
what a great rivalry.
The Selwood, Sam Mitchell, all those teams.
Yes.
It's kind
Jimmy
of
Bartell.
that sort of. You know what that reminds me of? The Hawks Geelong rivalry of that time reminds me a lot of like the Eagles Sydney rivalry. And I think there's also another rivalry stirring right now between like Brisbane and Collingwood. Kind of the Brisbane Collingwood rivalry now will probably be in a similar vein to those teams when we look back on them. So
I think so.
Teams that are a similar style, mercurial, great players along every line. Some great teams to look back on. But yeah, Hawks, who do you think is going to kind of come out on top with Geelong and Hawks next week?
That's a really tough one. I really don't know. It's a coin flip, I think. Geelong has so many things working in their favor in terms of all their players are fit and firing and in good form. They've had a week off to rest. So, like, they should be ready to rock and roll for a prelim final. Hawthorn, can they back it up 2 weeks on the road? That's going to be the real question. I think they can. I think it's going to be a super exciting contest in front of 90-odd thousand. And I would say Geelong's probably just going to get it, even though I would prefer Hawthorn.
Yeah, I guess it is a road game for them, but really it's not because it's at the MCG. So, it's a road game, but it's actually a home game for them. So that was, I suppose, one takeaway that I thought was that it kind of helps them coming home. It's not really like another team, say if GWS finished in 8th, they'd have to play every game truly away. But a Victorian team, and we started this 8, as you can see by that graphic, with only 3 Victorian teams. And guess what? How many Victorian teams do we have left? 3. The AFL must be loving it. They're like, yay, we got some interstate representation, but now let's kick them out and just get to the real teams, and the Lions, of course. So, who obviously have probably the highest amount of Victorian fans in their fan base out of any interstate club. So, that's a good kind of win for us, I suppose. Like, if, say, for example, I know we're skipping ahead, but like, if the Suns won and they played Collingwood, it would be like 99% Collingwood fans. maybe
Yeah.
more, 99.9%. And then, but now I think it'll probably be more like 70% Collingwood fans. So a little bit more, of a friendlier kind of fan base, representation, because they'll make more tickets available for Collingwood, obviously, it being
Yeah.
their home game. But, you know, the Lions still have a big contingent, always pulling, good crowds in Melbourne, which is very good. And obviously the MCG hoodoo is kind of no more, which is awesome. So we obviously saw that Crows game. I guess let's move on to the Lions and Suns game. Man, this was yesterday at the time of recording this, so pretty fresh in the memory. You went and watched this on repeat, like you watched it live, right? But at home.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Correct. Yeah, yeah. I was watching this on my telly, and I must say it was bloody exciting to watch it because uh, Brisbane Gold Coast semi-final Q clash. Like from a script writing perspective, it doesn't get any more epic than this. And I know you were at the game.
Mm-hmm.
What was your personal experience of the atmosphere and the crowd and the sort of pre-game entertainment and excitement?
Um, there was a lot of Suns fans in terms of like there was a few
Oh yeah,
bays. There was a fair few Suns fans. Like obviously, if there was any away game that the Suns are going to have a good representation, it's going to be just up the
yeah.
M1. So that worked out in their favor. But yeah, it kind of my overall thought is like this feels right. It's like you had your moment with the Dockers, like that's all good. You got your first final, but let's get the real stuff started now. Get the little ones out of the way, little brother, and we'll get on to the real deal, which is obviously Collingwood at the MCG. Because if the Suns played Collingwood, they get thrashed by 50 points, I think, at the MCG. So this will be, I think, a better matchup for neutral fans, and it also like continues the rivalry.
Yeah.
So it'll be exciting. But overall, yeah, Suns fans, fair amount of them. I guess pre-game entertainment. What do we have? We had a singer,
Well, there's a
anthem
lot of
singer.
fireworks and pyrotechnics. The Fox
Yeah,
crew made big notice of that because they were set up behind the goals with their studio,
yeah, yeah,
and the smoke just
yeah.
like engrossed them. So it was
But
quite funny.
but the anthem singer was very exaggerated, and he went very high pitched with his volume, with his tenor. So I thought that was kind of funny. I don't know if you saw that on the broadcast, but he was very enthusiastic about going up a note that people usually wouldn't go for on the anthem.
Yeah.
So that was
No, he
fun.
got a special shout out from commentary, that's for sure. But no,
Yeah,
I don't take too much notice of the national anthem singers, to be honest.
but yeah, from the start, the Suns kicked two quick goals. Ben King. Sorry, I don't think he kicked two. He kicked the first goal, and then he kicked, I think, the third goal. So a couple goals quickly. The Lions
Mm,
had one in between there, but I think they led like 21-7. And then the Lions clawed back a couple. And I think the tactical matchup they made was taking Gardner off Ben King and putting Harris Andrews to him. So Harris Andrews
correct.
kind of, to be honest, he didn't really lose much in that way of like his intercept marks, because he was stuck on Ben King, but they were trying to get it to Ben King. So he was always in the line of fire. So, and they didn't really have another tall forward that they wanted to kick it to. So I think the Lions did really well with putting Harris Andrews on him. How did you see that kind of? And then did they talk about that on the
They
broadcast?
did, absolutely. And I was specifically concerned about it because, when Brisbane had the injury to Jack Payne earlier in the season,
Yeah.
you look at Darcy Gardner and it's like a very similar profile and an easy replacement to come in. In saying that, when I saw the matchup against Ben King, I was like, just it's not the right one. And they spoke in commentary about how Harris Andrews tactically is preferred to be on the second
Mm.
forward for the opposition team. That way he can get those opportunities to spoil and intercept mark when he is needed. But because of the poor start of the game from Gardner, it was just a no-brainer swap that they needed to make, and they called it out on commentary. And then eerily, a couple seconds later, you see the change happen. So,
Mm.
these players are smart enough. Fagan's been around long enough to know these things. And I was
Mm.
pleased to see that change happen because once Harris Andrews made the swap to Ben King, he just became an absolute passenger and a ghost in the game.
Did Harris Andrews get like 10 intercept marks or close to? He
I
got a
don't know what the
lot.
stat was, but a lot. Yeah.
He got a lot, and there was a few other record breaks in this game. You had Cam Rayner had 8 broken tackles, which is
Yep.
a finals record. You had Josh Dunkley with 18 tackles himself, which is
Yep.
an AFL finals record. So, yeah, I think,
Yeah.
uh,
Beating Dustin Martin was the
yeah,
tackles one, and then or so tackle breaks was the
tackle
Dustin Martin
breaks.
one, and then the tackles one was Jimmy Bartell
Yeah,
in the grand final many years ago. So that is
yeah.
just elite company for the Lions players to be existing within.
Cam Rayner came out angry. He took his angry pills that morning because he
Oh
was
yeah.
bursting through tackles. He was trying to make a statement, and he looks big. Like he's like compared to those other guys, like he's a big dude, and he's probably in that rugby player kind of sense in his
Well, I wanted to
size.
ask you this because I was talking with my dad about this specifically when the game was happening. Because I personally think Cam Rayner needs to be playing midfield. Like, I understand he has a role to play when he plays on the half forward
Mm,
flank, but because of his size and strength, he's very similar to Matt Rowell, who also had a great game, by the way. But he's just such a bully and a beast and can just like
mm,
push people aside and power like a steam train through tackles. And like within that midfield setup, you've obviously got Oscar McInerney or Darcy Fort as the ruck, and then you've got Will Ashcroft, Hugh McCluggage, and Cam
yeah,
Rayner as our midfield four. So like that to me is
and
the best
Berry
setup. Well, Jared Berry plays more on the wing, I'd say.
and Levi
Um,
Ashcroft as well.
yeah, like obviously there's a bit of rotation, but like I think they're our best four midfielders, and everyone's probably thinking, well, what about Lockie Neal? Like he's the rotation player, and obviously him being out is not ideal. But I think Cam Rayner, and certainly moving forward, he needs to be the guy that is running the show in the middle of the park with the other guys who have just elite touches
Mm,
of the football. He
mm,
can be that brute to complement that midfield, in
yeah.
my opinion.
He could have
What
had
do you
like
think?
3 goals too. He definitely missed a couple, not easy ones, but ones that he probably thought would he should have made. So, he could have had a couple more goals. It could have been even uglier. Speaking of some other standouts from the Lions, you had Kai Lohman with the freshly shaved head, which I'm sure the broadcast talked about a lot.
Yeah.
He had 3 goals. Logan Morris 2. Who else had 3? Who else was it? Zach Bailey 3.
Hmm.
Very good goals there. He could have had a couple more as well. He had one miss that I kind of remember, but obviously it doesn't really matter because he kicked 3 goals. Yeah, Logan Morris with 2 goals. That Ty Gallup with his first goal in AFL football, which was fun.
Yeah, that was exciting.
Um, the one that would have brought the house down was if Charlie had kicked it, because I had in my head that could have been Charlie Cameron's last game at the Gabba as a Lions player. Could have been.
Yeah.
Like, I don't see how, if every player that we want in our team is fit next year, I don't see how Charlie Cameron gets a game if he's not, like, because he didn't kick a goal. He got some touches up in the middle of the field and kind of pushed up, but I just didn't see him. Yeah, he actually got a holding the ball free kick as well. But yeah, like, he can't kick a set shot. His touches around the front pockets are just not where they were used to be. I don't know. I just feel like Kyle Lohman's kind of that guy for the small forward. And you got, Lincoln McCarthy if they want him back. I don't really see Charlie Cameron. But anyway, not going to talk about next year. He didn't kick a goal, but that would have been awesome. And another miss that stands out was Oscar McInerney missing a goal, running straight into goal. That would have brought the house down.
Oh,
That
yeah.
would have been hilarious. But yeah, that was some highlights. Then obviously, yeah, 4 votes. Harris Andrews, one of the great. Here's a question: is Harris Andrews the greatest Lions defender of all time?
I would say so. I was thinking about this that night, and Brisbane have been blessed with so many great defenders. You think of Justin Lepage and Dan Merritt and Brad and Chris Scott. Um,
Mal Michael,
so yeah, Mal Michael. So many great defenders.
Ryan
Oh,
Lester.
you're not wrong.
Yeah,
Look, in terms of like big star defenders,
yeah.
that can do it all, get down low, make a good hand pass, progress the ball forward with decisive kicks,
Mm,
and then spoil and mark. Like he's just got it all. So I would say he's comfortably the best in Lions history,
yeah,
and certainly one of the best in the AFL history.
yeah. I think he'll go down in like the Lions' best ever team for sure if he's not already in that. And it's like, it's a good discussion, I suppose, to have now that you've kind of had, I know the Lions have only been around for what, like nearly 30 years as a Lion, like Brisbane Lions, not Fitzroy, but who is out of the two kind of major eras of the Lions, who is the best? Who makes the top, you know, the top 22? Like, I know we could do a whole episode about that, but like, just say, for example, just midfield. Like, that's incredibly hard. You've obviously got Voss, you got Black, you got Lappin. Like, those are like almost locks for the midfield. And then, but then
Yeah.
do you put Hugh McCluggage in there? Do you put Lockie Neal in there? He's won 2 Brownlows. Like, that's more than any other Lion. Like, you know, it's tough. Like, I think there's probably at this point in their careers, I'd say there's probably 7 guys in the all-time best Lions team, and I'm projecting that to like the end of their career.
Yeah. I'll
So
say Brisbane has been blessed with, after 12 years of mediocrity and stinking the place out, we truly have been blessed since our club's creation of some truly elite players and teams as well.
yeah, yeah. So it's been a good yeah. I think since the AFL VFL era, it's like sorry, the AFL started turning from the VFL, the Lions have actually had probably I think one of the best winning percentages, despite having the 12 bad years. So it kind of shows how good the good parts were. The peaks were very high, the valley was very low. You know, so you got that up and that highs and lows, which is good. I guess we've kind of gone a bit off topic, but you know, can we talk about next week? Who do we think's going to win?
Of course. I'll just conclude my thoughts about the Brisbane Lions Gold Coast Suns semi-final in saying that I think Gold Coast came into this game with a big travel coming back from Perth, and they were very quick to realize that Brisbane have been playing finals footy and playing consistent, high-intensity, four-quarter football for a long, long time. And Gold Coast just couldn't compete with that ferocity
Yeah.
at that same level. And Damien Hardwick came out and was, more than happy to hold his hands up and say, we're a good team. We're not a great team yet. We've still got a long way to go. And I think the Suns can be very, very proud about what has been their best ever season.
Yeah,
and I think Brisbane is the time to really step up and get your full uniform on and superhero to the final, because we have a great opportunity with the team that we've got despite the injuries, and we should be winning a flag.
Yeah. You think about it, that there was a sign there that had like all the players like do it for Lockie Neal, do it for Tom Duday, do it for Kitty Coleman, do it for Jack Payne. All these guys, a list of it, do it for Lincoln McCarthy, like all of these players that would have been in the team, most likely had they been fit. And then you also think about some of the players that are rumoured or confirmed to come to our club. It's like kind of a little bit unfair in terms of like if the Lions win back to back and then they get Oscar Allen, Sam Draper, some of these guys, and then continued excellence from young players that they've drafted like Wilmot, Levi Ashcroft, all that sort of stuff. It's kind of setting up for a dynasty of sorts, and like it's good because we've seen the valley, so let's stay at the peak for as long as you can.
Yeah,
that's how it should work. So. Next week, I think, it'll be just a cracking game, and I'm excited to watch it, even though I'll actually be in Sydney for that. Not working, but just on like holiday. So I'll be trying to find somewhere to watch it. Pub, hotel, something like that, because I am not missing that for the world. So, yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, very fun for that one. Where are you going to be checking it out from?
Oh, I don't know yet.
Lounge?
I'll say... look, I'll cross that bridge when I get to it. I am away for work, so
it's a 5:15 game, by the way, so it's not.
Yeah, I know, but yeah, we'll cross that bridge when we get to it.
So there you go. Friday, September 19th. You've got Geelong Hawks, cracking game, of course, and then you've got the Lions versus Collingwood game. So yeah, Friday, Saturday next week, and then obviously the prelims will be the grand final will be on the 27th. And it's going to be a very, very interesting matchup, and I'm excited to chat about it all with you next week, because I probably won't see you. So, we're going to be hopefully celebrating
telecommunicating.
Yes, hopefully celebrating another Lions win. So, again, thank you so much, Caleb, for joining me. Good wrap up, and we will see everybody next week for the last 2 out of 3 AFL games for the year.